This is the Anacrusis. We're here on Xbox Series X taking a look at this optimized game preview title. So what does game preview mean? Well, game preview means that it's a work in progress. So you're probably noticing, hey, there are some immediate performance drops. Yeah, okay, so this is the first level of the game, and hilariously enough, the only level that really suffers from these performance drops. So seriously, there are other parts where the performance dips a little bit, but this opening segment, for whatever reason, seems to have some really bad performance issues. So you might play this first part and be like, oh wow, no, this isn't running good. But seriously, if you keep with it just for the second part of this act, this chapter, it actually does start to run quite fine, and actually is more than playable, and even pretty good. So right off the bat, I should note that this is targeting a 4K resolution, 60 FPS. There's supposed to be HDR support, but my TV is not triggering it, so it might not be fully implemented yet, and a later feature. So just keep that in mind. So this is also something that has, well, I guess you could say cross-platform support, and I believe it's also supposed to have cross-play support as well. Xbox cross-platform co-op, yeah. There's also VRR support, which is variable refresh rate, and console, mouse, and keyboard support is noted as well. So yeah, you're working together in 4-player co-op. It is a Left 4 Dead-esque experience where you are, well, again, doing co-op against a wave of enemies as you try to get from checkpoint to checkpoint in order to survive. If you die, you have to restart from the checkpoints. And yeah, it's actually kind of a neat experience. So we are basically taking on these aliens that are kind of like zombies. But if you really look into it, it appears that the aliens are kind of like face huggers. It's like they kind of connect to the spine. And then I'm trying to get one that's dying front up. You can kind of see the mouth of the human and everything like that. So they've actually kind of taken over a human host as a bit of a face hugger type thing, which is super, super creepy. You're attempting to survive as this group and do a variety of different missions. Most of it is a walk in the park. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of difficulty things. It does appear that they're teasing a quick play option and weekly challenges, and that there will be 5 main episodes, or well, chapters that are present. I played through all 3 of the chapters that are available currently. And yeah, we didn't have too many issues going through the stuff. For the most part, it does run fine. And it's a game preview, so it's going to change over time too. I did have some real issues with the directional kind of, knowing where we're going, kind of a little bit of guidance could definitely be used in this one. Because there were a lot of times where we were very confused as to what exactly the game wanted us to do. There was this one section where you're kind of waiting for this intense sort of attack to go on, and we were like, okay, what do we do now? And you had to click a table to get a data pad. There were other problems too where we were just kind of like, this is really grueling and a little ridiculous in regards to the special infected, because there's these things called the brutes, and there was one time where we had to face off against 4 of them. It was 2 pairs of 2 right after each other, and it was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to deal with. So yeah, there's definitely some balancing and things that need to get worked on, but it's actually a pretty cool experience. And if you're a fan of Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, stuff like that, I think you'll actually find this one to be quite enjoyable. The AI also needs some work because they are really not too helpful. Yeah, the AI definitely does not help out a whole lot. They do tend to take things like health packs, and they tend not to really support your effort too much. Yeah, they definitely need some work. But yeah, it does actually, again, run a lot better as you continue to progress through it, and there could be huge waves of enemies. And I love the aesthetic of this one. Some people were kind of, because we did a stream of this one, some people were calling it a bit barren. But I think it's got a really neat, minimalistic sort of visual style to it that I really quite enjoy. So it's kind of to me it's like a 60s-esque sci-fi kind of throwback thing, where you got these laser guns and these aliens. And I think it actually works quite well for it. The blinders are annoying too. They maybe need to be toned down a bit, you can't see anything. That was the thing that was a big flashing light, and we're like, what is going on here? So I think that could use some work. There's some other things here or there that could be adjusted, but for the most part, I really like the setting of it, the scene. More chatter too would be nice for the characters. Just being oh, we need to go this way, or kind of giving us context into what's going on. They seem almost too, I don't know, kind of quiet and perhaps at times during like cutscenes cheery about what's going on. It's a little weird. But it's got like a cool vibe to it. I like the sci-fi style that's present here. I actually think this is a really cool sort of look. You know, and again, like the aesthetics. It's got like this really sort of minimalistic but super colorful type of vibe going on. And I think it absolutely works for this game. It's really, really quite cool. And I like the variety within the infected. You know, it can be a good challenge. It just at times a little grindy, but it's pretty cool. I actually think this game has... Oh, and the goo is so annoying. Okay, so the goo, you can't break out of. If a brute hits you, you'll get out of it, but like, you are just stuck until you die, basically. Like, it's not like, oh, you take a couple hits and the goo breaks off. It's like, literally, you just die if you're in the goo. If there's no one near you, like your whole team, we had a team where we all got gooed, and we just died, and that was it. There's join in progress, which is nice. I guess I should mention that as well. But like seriously, you get stuck in the goo and you're screwed. So there needs to be something with that. I do like the propulsion thing that kind of pushes people back because there's not really like meleeing. But see, look at that, 2 of our teammates can't do anything because they're gooed. So we would essentially lose if our third player got gooed there because there's no way to break out of it. Unless, you know, again, a brute hits you, but what are the odds you're going to have that at this point? And it's kind of random because they've got a bit of a, you know, a composer or whatever. It's like an AI driver, they call it. And that's kind of what determines what's going to happen. And there's a respawn system, so you can kind of respawn, but the horde gets alerted, and you don't come back with any weapons or anything, or any, like, tools, and that could be a little annoying. It is kind of linear, but there are little bits where you could sort of go off and explore slightly. Little rooms you can open in that. And I really love the setting of the different kind of locations you end up going to. Like, there's, like... these really cool like disco club spots, and there's some you know, some maintenance places, and it's just a really neat variety of different locations that you end up going to. I like the safe room style too, where it's kind of like this close off thing. I guess we'll try out the SMG. I'm trying to show off the different laser weapons, which is kind of neat. Now we just gotta wait for all these guys to get here. There is a bit of a marker system to let people know where you're going, so that's kind of cool. And it's just kind of an intriguing game. There's also these markers you can use, and these markers will give you perks and things that can kind of give you advantages, like a quick revive, and these sort of like reset, it seems, every chapter, but like you can find up to a few of them per level, and I think that's neat. I would have liked a little bit more difference within the map designs too, if that makes sense, just for being like, oh, you replay this level, it's a little bit different. I think that would go very far in regards to like longevity and just offering something more expansive. Oh, and I want to say the character models. Well, that's creepy. But the character models are actually very, very detailed, which I thought was fantastic. Like, you go up close to them and they look really, really clean and clear. And you can see, like, pores and stuff. I just wanted to mention that because I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of nice detail into these different characters and stuff. Close the door, guys. Jeez. It's like these guys haven't played this game or something. So you got to use a wide range of cool sci-fi weapons. They got some funny little bits, kind of interludes that let you know what's happening at times. It's a fun, quirky game. You know, I think it does offer a good amount of gameplay. You know, obviously there's a lot more for them to do with this one, things they need to fix, little issues here or there. But, yeah, you know, I think they've actually got something really strong here off the bat. If they polish this and they put together some other stuff that's good and they work on replayability, I definitely see this being a very good Left 4 Dead alternative. And it's just got like such a neat sort of like aesthetic style to it that I quite enjoy. And being game preview, achievements are still not present, so keep that in mind. If you are, you know, one of those people looking for achievement hunting, they'll come out closer to the launch usually for these types of games. But yeah, for what they've put together here, I actually really kind of enjoy the experience. I haven't played it on the Series S, but I've been told it runs quite fine there, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, just on the Series X, it's got some performance stuff that needs to be ironed out, but I think they've got something pretty cool. And there's, oh, these brutes, they're so annoying. And there's also like an element of, when you're doing stuff, it's always kind of a little bit dynamic. Well, that was easy. It's easier with a squad too of actual players. Playing with the AI is just like the worst. But what I was trying to say was basically like, sometimes you have to hold off an area. Sometimes you have to do like a hot potato with like a radiation thing. Sometimes you have to go through a dark area, sometimes a lit up area, sometimes there's, you know, kind of clearing this stuff out. So they do vary kind of what you're doing, like your goals, and I think that's kind of good for keeping it fresh. There's a weird bug where you kind of like kneel through the floor, which is a bit strange. But yeah, I do actually quite like what they've put together here. I think hopefully they continue to sort of advance this and stuff, but I think this actually can be a lot of fun. You know, a bit grindy again, like I mentioned at times, which can be frustrating, but for the most part, it's actually quite a riveting and enjoyable time. Is this the way forward? Yeah, this is the way forward. And once again, directional stuff. So there's like this one area towards the end, well actually right at the end, where they clearly have the ability to do like highlighted things and let you know what you're supposed to be doing. And it just felt like that stuff was kind of not present through the earlier levels at all, and that could be a little annoying. And while it might seem a little easy here, there are definitely places where this one can get quite a challenge going on, so keep that in mind. It's not always smooth sailing, that's for sure. I love the use of like color and stuff in this game. It's so intriguing, the vibe of it. It's just got like everything is just like weird. Like this hallway alone, all the different, you know, color designs and the lighting, like with HDR kind of kicking on this one. I bet it looks just fantastic. And all these like groovy looking places, and it tells a really neat tale. I almost want to know a bit about like how it got to this state, if that makes sense. Like I would find that to be very, very intriguing, being like, how did this all go? Where did things happen? What is the state here? Because they don't really talk about it at all. Now I gotta alert the horde, and we gotta deal with that.
This makes me a little sad.
Let's get the century going on. Tense disco and music. See, this is kind of cool. It's like I think it's like a club area. Yeah, look like it's somewhere where somebody would be singing out the front there. But that's the cool thing. It's like this cruise liner of the retro future or something like that. I don't know. I think it's set in the past, but better tech advancements. It's quite hard to say, actually. I'm not too sure what the full setting is, but all I know is we've got this really cool sort of like place that we're kind of going in and we're trying to survive in, and it looks really, really aesthetically neat. Like I love the art style, the minimalism of it. It's so cool. But it's not like totally minimalistic. There's lots of stuff in the environment. It kind of has like a bit of an open vibe at times. But again, that very clean, futuristic sort of like, cruise liner type thing. And I think it just works for it. And this is, again, a little bit of easier stuff. Like the regular walking through stuff, this is pretty easygoing as it should be. And then they just get you to these like pretty grueling spots where it's just like, ugh.
The door's open, let's go.
But I don't think anything should be too hard. I mean, like after finishing stuff, even having to deal with some spots where we're like, oh, this is frustrating, we're kind of like, it's not too bad. It is something like, you might kind of do these different sittings, these Left 4 Dead-like things, so that should be an option for you. But it's mostly like, do you enjoy this type of experience? Would you find this interesting? That's the biggest part here, is it's another Left 4 Dead-esque title. And I know many people have, tried many Left 4 Dead games over the years. We're finally, you ask for Left 4 Dead for quite a while, and then you just like don't stop hitting Left 4 Dead type games, which is kind of hubris. But no, I like kind of what they've put together. Oh, there you're dead. I guess we get to show off the respawn thing there. And it's just it's a fun sort of thing. Oh, the grabbers are ridiculous. I've seen 2 grabbers grab me from other sides and like throw me out into the middle and just kill me, and it drives me crazy. But yeah, I'm hoping they kind of play around with some of the difficulty tuning and stuff like that. And like I said, I think there's potential with this one, and it's game preview, right? So like, it's going to change over time. There's going to be new things added. It's hopefully going to continue to evolve in exciting ways, and I am intrigued. I don't know if I'll be checking it out all the time, but like when it's fully ready, I'll definitely want to do like a final, I guess you would say, review of it, because that's the biggest problem with these ones. It's like, can you get enough replayability going that it's like, oh, you want to keep playing over and over again? And that's the thing, is like there's not quite that hook yet, if that makes sense. Like, it's something they still need to work on. There is a lot of, it looks like there's going to be a lot of gun skins and cosmetics you can get, but none of those are really present yet. Oh, and I should have mentioned this. There's a toggle AFK mode, which is quite helpful. And you can also go to video and you can adjust the field of view. So we're going to apply that up to 120 here, and you can adjust the field of view if that's you know, something you'd like to do. I guess, again, I should mention this stuff kind of earlier sometimes, because people always go, oh, FOV and stuff, but yeah, that is present, and you see a lot of the world. Let's turn that back off. Subtitles, all this kind of stuff. See, it says HDR is on, but when I go to kind of actually see on my TV settings, it doesn't say HDR is on, so that's a bit weird. I don't know. Could just be a thing, glitching, could be the game, could be my TV. It's hard to say.
I think we have to head through the fair.
That's one of those cool places where you kind of climb up and it's all whimsical looking. See what I'm talking about? These different room designs and stuff are so neat. It's like different mall areas, and it's a very, very intriguing kind of location that I'm so fascinated by. It's really, really quite neat, and I don't really have more details at this point. I mean, I'm just going to kind of show off the rest of the gameplay so you can see more of it in action, but it's enjoyable, it's interesting, and I think the biggest indicator of the success of this one will be how good the replayability is done, because they've got a neat world, the characters need a little bit more personality, but they got a neat world, neat enemies, a neat setting. It's very intriguing to me, and I'm kind of excited to see if they can really pull this one off, because it's got the good basis right now.
Fifth floor! 6 more!
Flasher!
I'm down.
Let's go up!
Come on, up on your feet.
Give me a second and I can heal you up.
Double lockdown. We have to hit
Behind
these
you.
together.
Why would you bring me back to this?
Well, that turned some things on.